I'm Nikki. Welcome to my Flosstube channel, Accounted Cross Stitch. I'm an accountant. I'm 36. I live in the DC area, and I've been feeling like maybe I want to start a Flosstube for a while now, but a couple weeks ago I went to StitchCon. I went to Weekend A, and I had an amazing time, and I'm feeling inspired to actually do it. So here I am. I just had such a great time meeting everyone at StitchCon. It's such a great community, and I felt like a Flosstube was a great way to continue getting to know everyone and building more stitchy friendships and being part of the community. I hope to go to more retreats in the future. I'm not signed up for any yet, but I definitely would like to go to StitchCon again next year. And I know that there's a Queen City Stitch Retreat in North Carolina. I'm originally from North Carolina, so I feel like I might try to go down to that in 2026. So I'm excited. So I thought to start out, I would tell you all a little bit about the beginning of my stitchy journey. I haven't been stitching for that long. I'll show you what I worked on at StitchCon and what I've worked on in the last week and a half since I got home. And I might talk a little bit about knitting and reading. I'm also a big knitter and a big reader, so I'll save those for the end because I know most people are just here for the stitching. So bear with me. I've never done this before, but here we go. So I have only been stitching for about 2 years. I flirted with the idea of learning to cross stitch for a long time before I actually pulled the trigger. I watched a lot of my friends stitch on social media. I really enjoy seeing their projects, and I kept hesitating to actually learn how to do it because I also knit. I've been knitting for my entire adult life. It's been my primary hobby, and so I have a huge yarn stash and quite a queue of knitting patterns that I am excited to knit. And like, I already have a hard time telling myself like it's okay to take a break and read, or it's okay to take a break and play a video game, because I'm like, I must be knitting. I have to get these projects done. So I knew if I learned to stitch that it was going to be another long queue of projects that I'm excited to work on, and another stash of fabric sitting on top of my yarn stash, and a bunch of money spent. And that's exactly what happened, but I'm still glad I pulled the trigger and finally learned, because it's been super fun. I was at a weird little gift shop in Asheville, North Carolina. I'll have to ask my friend what it was called, but it was this weird shop with like gifts and antiques, and I don't know how to describe it. It was a really random store in downtown Asheville, and I got a little cross stitch kit. I figured this won't take over my entire life. So it's this. And so I bought this Free Hugs. It's the face hugger from the Alien franchise. I bought that at that little gift shop, and then took the kit home and let it sit for a year before I actually did it. And then around the holidays, I think in 2023, I finally sat down and did it, and I had fun and wanted to get better at stitching and pick out what I was going to stitch next. So then I went on YouTube and I searched like beginner cross stitch tips and tricks or something like that. And that was how I found Flosstube, and went all the way down the rabbit hole. So I ended up spending like a few weeks watching Flosstubes while knitting. I find knitting is a lot easier to work on without having to look at it constantly. Like if I'm stitching, I'm really looking down and occasionally looking up to see y'all's beautiful faces and your beautiful projects. But if I'm knitting, I can really watch what I'm watching and only occasionally look down at my knitting. So I spent a while knitting and watching Flosstube and making notes about like what designers I need to look up and what stores I might want to buy supplies from and types of fabrics I might want to try. So I did that towards the end of 2023 and just haven't looked back. So that's the beginning of my stitching journey. And then earlier this month, I went to StitchCon and I had such an amazing time, and I feel inspired to move forward from that, and I picked up lots of new patterns that I'm excited to work on, and I really enjoyed meeting everyone, and I feel like I already talked about this, so I'm going to show you the projects I worked on while I was at StitchCon. So this is the Nostalgic Ouija by the Witchy Stitcher, and you'll have to bear with me. I tend to kind of park my threads if it's something with a lot of colors like this. This project has definitely been educational for me. I really love the look of the 8 million colors that it has. Like, it's a gift, but I'm really gonna enjoy seeing the finished product. But I'm not sure that I'm having fun switching colors constantly as I'm stitching. Maybe I'll get better at it, but it kind of stresses me out because I'll finish one and then I'll be like, where do I go next? So this has definitely been a learning experience for me, but I went to StitchCon with this about halfway done. If you see those butterflies in the middle, I started at the bottom and I was about up at the butterflies when I brought it to StitchCon. I have before and after pictures of where I actually was on my Instagram, which is Nikki X Stitches. But I told myself I was gonna try to finish this at StitchCon and that I was gonna maybe get a chance to ring the bell. And my friend who I'm making this for actually came with me to Cincinnati and came to StitchCon. So I was like, I'm gonna finish it and send it home with her and then send her all of the framing supplies so she can put it up in her apartment, because I live on the East Coast and she lives in Texas, so we don't get to see each other too often. But clearly that was an unrealistic goal. I didn't get to finish it. And I've worked on it a lot in the last couple days too. So I finished this corner here at StitchCon, and now I'm working on the other side trying to finish up the last corner. So I think I'll finish it within the next couple of weeks, certainly by the end of July. And then I can send it off. But that was the project I put the most time into at StitchCon. And then once I realized I wasn't gonna finish it and I wasn't gonna get to ring the bell, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna get at least a few threads into each of the other projects that I brought with me. I brought 4 projects total. So this is the one that I put the second most progress into. This is the Barn Owl by Cottage Garden Samplings. I'm really enjoying this one. I like the fabric. It's the called for like brand and color, but I got the Aida. I think it's 14 count Aida, and I got all the called for threads. So I'm having a lot of fun with this one. It's just, I don't know, it's just really pleasant to work on. I'm not sure what it is about it. It's not one of the projects that's stressing me out. So I'm not sure when I'm gonna finish this one. I don't have like a hard and fast goal set for this one, but I got to work on that at StitchCon. And then this is the project that I was bringing to the late night room. So this is Cerberus. Like, it's a play on Cerberus, the 3-headed dog that guards the entrance to the underworld in Greek mythology. This one is Cerberus, so it's the 3-headed dog, but if he was a cat. I'm just a big cat lady. So when I saw this pattern, I was immediately obsessed with it. The designer is, I want to say, Need a Lot Designs, and I'm super excited to put more work into this one. And then the last piece that I worked on at StitchCon is Great White Christmas by Boomerang Stitches, and I put like 2 threads into this one. I worked on it on Sunday morning before we left to fly home, so I just finished that little, like, well, I didn't finish the row of waves, but I just worked on that a little bit, and I have a ways to go, but I'm really enjoying this one. This is one of my only like monochromatic patterns. So it's a nice one to not have to think about too hard. I'm using, let's see, the fabric is, I think I got it from a grab bag from Forbidden Fiber, so I'm not sure that it has a name. And then the floss is also Forbidden Fiber in poinsettia. So if you've seen this one, I'll try to put up a picture of the actual, the pattern, but it's gonna have a shark, so I tried to choose this like kind of oceany, like dark oceany fabric, and then a floss that is both Christmassy but also could be perceived as like bloody, so like, you know, like a shark, like blood in the water. So I think this is super fun. I'm excited to put it up in my apartment. And yeah, I showed it to my mom. I was home working on it for a weekend, and she was like, Nikki, you know that's weird, right? But I think it's hilarious. So those were all of the projects that I worked on at StitchCon. Sorry, I had to pause for a second because I was having cat problems. So if you can, I tried to be back in the same place, but if you can see that I shifted, it's because I had to pause. This little guy was yelling at the door. He wanted to participate. He really likes to participate in everything I do. He participates in my book club, and he participates in my meetings at work. And so he wanted to participate in Flosstube. So this is Fiero. He's 15. I've had him since he was 8 weeks old. So he's my elderly baby. He's a good boy, but he was yelling at the door. He wanted to participate. So I think I had just finished showing you all of the projects I worked on at StitchCon. And the other thing I wanted to say about StitchCon was how much I enjoyed the trunk shows in the annex. I, being a relatively new stitcher, and I'm not sure that I have a local needlework shop in the DC area where I live. If there is, I haven't found it yet, so please tell me if there is. But I haven't lived here that long either. But I usually don't get to see projects in person. You know, I see y'all's beautiful projects on Instagram and on Flosstube, and then I look up the designers that you talk about and see them on Etsy or on their websites, and it's just not the same seeing the models stitched in person. The trunk show was just mind-blowing. So that was really amazing to walk through and see all of those patterns, and I bought a whole bunch of them. I didn't bring them in here with me to do like haul. I'll probably in a future video do plans because I've been kitting them up, and I'm hoping to start a bunch of them really soon. I did post on my Instagram which patterns I bought, so there are pictures on my Instagram. But yeah, I had a great time shopping, and I'm so excited to work on those patterns. And if I go back to StitchCon next year, I need to buy fewer patterns because I probably bought a couple years worth of stitching. But since I got back from StitchCon, I only have a couple more projects that I've been working on, so I'm sure y'all have seen this one a million times on everyone else's Flosstube, but this is the Extraordinary Birds Sal by Lola Crow. I love, love, love it. I did the Deadly Aquarium last year, and that was my first Sal. And I saw the ones like the year before that. She did like a greenhouse, and I think before that a library. And I don't know, I was really hoping after the aquarium that she would do like an aviary. And I'm so happy to have kind of been right that it's birds. And as you can see, I am caught up. I got the frame done on time. I've been doing the clues once a week, and I am caught up. So I'm very proud of myself for staying caught up. I didn't even have to bring it to StitchCon with me since that was an off week. And you can see my needle minder is 310 that I got at StitchCon from Keepsakes. So hopefully, I don't know if this is totally focused, but here we are. Maybe without my face in it, it'll focus better. But yeah, I'm having so much fun working on this. It's my first pattern that I'm doing on Lugana. So I'm still learning all the different fabrics, and I really, really, really love working on Lugana. It's 28 count, and it's just a joy to stitch on. This is from Under the Sea Fabrics. I kept my little tag and everything. And yeah, I'm really loving this one, and I'm excited to see what this Friday's piece of the pattern will be. I'm gonna do my very best to stay caught up with that sale. And then the last one I've been working on is a really tiny start, so I just capped it in the Q Snap. This is Debut by Nat X Stitches. It's one of the Taylor Swift mini albums. You can see I have my Lover House needle minder. For a second I thought the needle was gone. I was like, oh God, where is it? But it's in the back, it's fine. So yeah, I'm a giant Swiftie. If you think Swifties are annoying, you're not gonna like me. You should just know that now, because I'm an insufferable Swiftie, and I've been stitching all of the mini albums. You can see I have them here behind me. Here's Midnight. So maybe I'll do like a finish parade later and show you all of them. They're all on my Instagram. But I've been doing all of the mini albums so I can have a Taylor Swift wall behind me here. And when she bought back her masters a few weeks ago, that means I have 6 more albums that I need to stitch. So I started Debut right away, and I will do all 6 of the album covers that she purchased back. So I am gonna have to probably start putting them up on this side of the wall too. So I'll have like the Taylor's versions on one side and the purchased back versions on the other. And I'm planning to do every album cover. So I'm having fun with those, and they're nice little, it's like a 42 by 42 stitched square. So they're nice and quick. I usually can knock one out in a month, and I'm not working on them monogamously. It wouldn't take a whole month if I was. But yeah, so that's everything I've been working on this week. And I will show you my knitting project. I try to keep 2 knitting projects going at any given time. I have one more elaborate project that I'll work on when I'm at home or when I'm at my knitting group. Well, it's a stitching group. We have both knitters and stitchers and crocheters, and sometimes someone will show up and make like a friendship bracelet or something. It's a great multi-craftual group, which I think is really nice, because sometimes I've been to other groups where the knitters think they're better than the crocheters, or people don't play nicely, and I appreciate having everyone be able to be there and be included. So this is the knitting project that I've been working on. It's a shawl. I think it's coming out kind of small, but there's going to be another band of this purple. There's going to be a cabled band, and yeah, I think it might end up being more of a kerchief than a shawl, because I think I went down too many needle sizes. But it's a joy to knit. It's with Madeline Tosh Merino Light yarn, which is just it's like candy for your fingers. It's just so nice to work with. I just love it so much. So I'm having a ton of fun knitting that. Well, maybe I have the name of the pattern. It's the Ishneich. I'm butchering that. Ishneich shawl by Lucy Hague, I think. She does a lot of Celtic style patterns on Ravelry. I'll put the link in the comments, since I've just butchered the pronunciation of everything I just said. But that's the big shawl pattern that I'm working on right now, and I'm also working on a little sock. So in addition to a more complicated pattern, I always try to have something small that fits in my purse going. So this is just a super basic sock, and I know it's June, but I'm working on my Christmas knitting already, so trying to whip up lots of socks so I can be caught up and have Christmas presents for some people. So that's my knitting. And last, I'll talk about reading. So what I'm currently reading is A Curse Carved in Bone by Daniel Jensen. And so this is the second book in a series. I read the first book maybe January or February of this year, and I really loved the first book, and I'm having a little bit of a harder time getting into this one, although I haven't gotten that far. I'm 10% of the way into the book. So maybe it'll grow on me, but I read a lot. I read 10 to 15 books a month, and so even though January wasn't that long ago, I'm having a hard time remembering what happened in the end of the first book, and the second book really jumps back into the action without giving you, like, redoing the exposition, which I know if you're reading through a series right in a row, it can be kind of annoying to get all the exposition again. Like, I just read this, but I needed it again. So I'm having a hard time getting back into the second book, but maybe I'll get there. We'll see. And then also this month, some of the highlights. I read What Kind of Paradise. This was interesting. I read a lot of like romance and fantasy, so this was something that this is a different genre. It's kind of loosely inspired by the Unabomber, but like if he had a daughter and it's from the daughter's perspective, like living with her scary dad and then like how her life goes from there. So this was really interesting. I got it from Book of the Month Club. I really enjoyed that. And then I'm starting the Expanse series from the beginning. I read Leviathan Wakes in maybe 2019. I read it a few years ago when I really was enjoying the Expanse TV series. And then I never made it through the rest of the series, but my partner really, really loves them and wants someone to talk about them with. So I have committed to reading the whole series. I'm going to try to do like one a month. I think there's 9 or 10 of them, so I'm going to be reading these for a while. But they're really great. So that's what I'm reading. And yeah, I am probably going to try to film like once a month or so, because I have a lot of different hobbies taking up my time. I want to make sure I have some actual stitching done to show progress. I think if I filmed once a week, I'm very impressed by the people who film once a week and have something to show, because I don't know that I would have too much to show in a week. But yeah, I'm going to try to film probably once a month, and my cat is biting me. He bit me. This is what happens when he'll sit on my lap during meetings and stuff, and if I'm not paying attention to him, if I'm not petting him enough, he bites me. So yay. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm going to try to film once a month, and hopefully I can edit this without too much drama. And yeah, please bear with all of my ums and how I just kicked my camera and my questionable editing skills, because I promise I will get better at it, and I am excited to be here. So thanks, y'all. Bye.